Hello boys and girls, YouTubers, welcome back. So it is mid-October in my neck of the woods here in Ontario, Canada. This is season 4 with V-Strom 1000. I got it used, got it with about 2,800 kilometers. I'm a second owner. And right now, the odometer is sitting around 38,000 kilometers. If you watch my channel, I did a couple reviews. I think first maybe 15,000 and then 30,000 kilometers on this bike. And I also posted a video right after I got it, so kind of like first impressions. This one is going to be very similar. I'm not going to actually bother you with technical specs because you can find that stuff absolutely everywhere. Most of the stuff that I actually mentioned in last review video, it stands. I mean, this bike is still running strong, knock on wood. Haven't actually had any problems with it. I'm just doing my regular maintenance, chain, oil, battery and brakes and that kind of stuff. But other than that, everything seems to be just fine. I think Suzuki did a great job with this V-Strom lineup. 650s and 1000s are bulletproof, and they're making it for almost 20 years. So I guess they're doing something right. 2014 and 2015 models, pretty much the same. And I'm not going to say they're outdated, but definitely they lack some of the newest toys and features that you're going to find in 2020 model. I like to take this bike on long distance trips, and lack of that cruise control is definitely a small minus. Right now on a newer model, you're going to find not only that, but a few other things that definitely improves the riding quality. One thing that I really like about this bike is low cost of ownership. And to be honest with you, like, I haven't spent that much money in the last 4 years on this bike. I mean, regular maintenance is regular maintenance. You got to do that on any bike you own, but this one in particular didn't actually require any massive investments. So I did actually purchase a couple things, like small little toys like this windscreen and this bar raisers, and I did actually went with lower seat, OEM Suzuki lower seat, but that will be pretty much it. Everything else falls into that regular maintenance category, so chain and brakes and batteries and that kind of stuff, so it's really not that expensive. In comparison to some flagship products from KTM or BMW, maybe Yamaha and Honda, this thing actually doesn't cost that much. So the return on investment is pretty high in my opinion. 2014 and 2015 model came standard with ABS and traction control. Both systems worked really, really well. I know the latest model actually comes with much more sophisticated ABS system, and it does actually offer slightly better traction control. This is great, no question about that. But if you think about upgrading, for me personally, those two things are not that important, because system that you will find in this bike, it's more suitable for my style of riding. The best part about this motorcycle is the engine. I mean, this liter V-twin is tuned absolutely perfectly. When it comes to power, I'm totally fine what this engine can give you. So it's about 70 foot-pound of torque and I think 80 or 90 horsepower, and that's really enough for, most of the situations that most of the riding styles that you're gonna find out there. For me, like a going 2-up is very important to have that extra kick in comparison to 650 model. Although I think 650 V-Strom is absolutely great. I mean, that engine as well is bulletproof. I honestly don't think this bike is a city bike. It's 525 pounds wet with high center of gravity and with 19-inch front wheel. So moving around, zipping through traffic, yeah, you can do it. I mean, it's not impossible. I probably clocked about 10,000 kilometers in a city on this bike, so it's doable. But if I will pick something just to ride in the city, most likely it will be something smaller, lighter, and more maneuverable per se. Speaking of rideability, I don't think this is a great first bike. To be honest, I will probably recommend V-Strom to somebody who has maybe at least a year or two of riding experience, simply because it does actually take some skill to move this bike around. Once again, like when you're in open road, there's like no problem at all. I mean, everybody can ride it, but in a city it's a little bit different, especially if you're in a tight, like a congested traffic, have a lot of cars around and on stop and go for an hour or two. It can be tiring. It can be really not annoying, but you can get like a really frustrated. I'm not going to talk about fuel economy and fuel consumption. All I know that I can squeeze about 360, 370 kilometers out of tank, and tank holds, I believe, 18 or 19 liters. So really that's not bad for 1 liter engine. Now, if Suzuki actually made this tank maybe slightly bigger, just to hold maybe 22, 23, maybe 25 liters, I think you could probably go 500 kilometers on one tank, and that will be great because bike is built to go distance. Passing around the cars is effortless. I mean, you're going to be probably faster than 95% of four-wheelers on a road. If you're on a highway, I mean, you can definitely cruise around in 6th gear at 140 kilometers all day long. I mean, no sweat whatsoever. This bike is pretty much stock. I mean, I haven't changed much except tires that I put 2 years ago, Metzler Tourance Next, and I put the new battery. That's pretty much it. The suspension that comes out of factory on these type of bikes are, like, in my opinion, really, really good. I mean, you can upgrade the rear suspension. It will help quite a bit, I can bet. But looking actually from what you get for the money what you shed on a motorcycle, it's really not that bad, to be honest. I mean, front and rear are adjustable. I mean, rear it's only for a preload, but you know, front are definitely something that, you know, you might spend some time to tune in, and for me, my setup actually worked pretty well. What else I can tell you about this bike, guys? I mean, 4 years later, you know, naturally you start thinking about like basically getting something else. And to be honest, I had a lot of bikes in my lifetime. This is the bike, I think number 11 or 10, I'm not really sure, but I never owned a bike for more than 3 seasons, and this is once again season 4 with 2015 V-Strom 1000. To be quite honest, I was looking at that 2020 model 1050. It's definitely more tuned and more sophisticated than this one. It does come with a few extra gadgets like cruise control, and ABS system is a little bit more refined, traction control as well. Suspension, it's slightly better than this one, but all put together, I don't think I will go out and spend another, I don't know, $14,000 once again for a brand new bike. If I have to summarize this bike, I have to say it's kind of jack of all trades and master of none. It will do everything pretty darn good, no matter what you throw at it. But it's not going to exceed in anything, or it's not going to be exceptionally good in any of those categories. For my style of riding and what I do and where I go with motorcycle, this thing is absolutely perfect. As I mentioned, low cost of ownership, low maintenance cost. That's a huge ticket item in my books, and this thing is really cheap to maintain. On top of everything else, that initial investment is not that high in comparison, once again, to Hondas and Yamahas, KTMs and BMWs. So overall, as I said, for what you get, what Suzuki give you right out of the factory is pretty darn good. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap things up for today. Thanks again for coming back and checking out the channel. If you have any question or comment, put it down in a comment section. Let me know what you think. If you didn't do it yet, please click that like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you next one. Cheers. Peace.